I'm Mark Hamby, and I have with me Lisa Mistiuk. And Lisa, you're living in California now?
Yeah, we're in Southern California now.
Southern California, where?
We are in Orange County, about an hour south of LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Always beautiful there. It's the same season all year long, pretty much, or not really?
Pretty much. We moved here the end of November. My kids thought that it was summer, and so they were swimming, and everyone else here thought it was winter, but
yeah, I like the seasons. I don't think I could live in California.
Yeah, we'll miss them.
I enjoy visiting. So when we were just praying before the start of this podcast, I said that I prayed that we would not overshadow God, but he would overshadow us.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of something in the scriptures in Exodus chapters 33 through 36. But as people are listening right now, Lisa, you were our guild teacher, our visual arts guild teacher for 2 years or 3?
3 or 4.
Oh, 4. Yeah, I think it was probably 4 years.
It might have been 4, yeah.
The first year was at Letchworth State Park, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, and that was really amazing. I love it.
It was amazing.
I still have the painting that you helped me paint that day. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember what was unique about the painting?
The drops of rain.
Yes. Oh, wow. You remember that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I do.
I think that made it just all that much more special, because at first I thought it was ruining the painting. And then you were like, no, it's making it more creative. And it's a memory of that day that we were painting together. It reminds me of a little bit more now of impressionistic type of painting.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so back to our original. So this July 18th through 23rd, Lisa is going to be teaching here at the Lamplighter Guild again. Really excited about that. The last time you were here, you did the mural inside the bell tower.
Yes, we did.
That's still, people come through there and are amazed by what you guys did during that guild. And I know you have something planned this year, but I'm going to just put a little seed in your mind. And you don't have to do this. Maybe you can do this next year. But we have that. On the other side of the studio, there's this projection of the building. It's like 35 feet tall, and it's about 12 feet wide, and it's white brick.
Oh.
Someday we should do a mural on that part of the church building. It would be
a great idea.
Phenomenal. Oh, it would be beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So keep that in mind.
I'd be thrilled to have another wall someday.
Okay, good. Okay. So when we started this conversation, I prayed that we would not overshadow God, but he would overshadow us. Yeah. And in the Old Testament, chapters 33 through 36 of Exodus, God raises up 2 individuals to start with, Bezalel and Oholiab. Have you ever read about them?
Yes.
Okay. So I learned this year that the word, and they were the craftsmen that created the furniture for the tabernacle. And if God's choosing someone to work for him, that they've got to be good.
Yeah.
And when I choose people to teach at the Guild, I'm always looking for that same element of beauty and creativity and excellence, and you have that, and that's why I love it.
That. Thank you.
But I have you here for another reason too. I have you here because of your smile and your love for Jesus. That's the main reason you're here, because I think that influences the hearts and lives of those that will be under your teaching more than your painting, even though your painting's great.
It is my greatest honor to get to share that with the students. So that's what I look forward to most, awesome. Through the teaching, that's what I'm sharing. Yeah. That's exciting.
So Bezalel means shadow of God.
Okay.
And God had him become the craftsman for his furniture in the temple, in the tabernacle. And I just think that's a beautiful picture of what God wants us to be like. He wants us to not just to be image bearers, but to be a reflection and a shadow. A shadow always moves with the person, right?
Yeah.
So I like that idea of really being sensitive. This guild is going to be special. Lisa, this is different than any other guild we've ever had. They seem all to be different, but this one, this one is more unique than anything we've ever done. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult for my master teachers, just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
Because early morning.
We'll try to keep up.
What's that?
I said, we'll try to keep up.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be the key. Dr. Lou Sterrett is going to be teaching with his horses. And It's phenomenal. We're going to be driving to a horse farm early morning.
Okay.
We're going to be filming it and doing a movie on the prodigal son. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I think of all the classes, I think yours is the hardest because you're painting and the changing of the sky and the sunlight and the shadows, it changes throughout the day. Before we go into detail of what you're going to do in your class, tell everyone a little bit about who you are and how you got to be where you are today with your painting.
Sure. I'm Lisa Mistiuk. I'm an artist and a mom and a wife. I've got 3 kids that I homeschool, and on Mondays and Tuesdays, we welcome 3 more kids. So I homeschool 6 kids those days. So, my life is very full, and my husband has a very busy, kind of intense job as well. So I think it's been awesome. I didn't have my first art class till I was 21, and it just wasn't very much a part of my family culture growing up, but it was definitely something I was called to. So, God opened up those doors in ways that only he could. And I'm a very practical person. I'm a very efficient person, and I don't love a lot of fluff. And so that I was called to be an artist is probably the most exciting, ironic thing of my life, and it's just something God used to really teach me so much more about his love and his heart. And so I'm so thankful, but it was a lot of a breaking process, Hold
on. Let's go back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about family and why that wasn't part of your life. There's some young people out there that are trying to figure out what they're going to do with their life. If you didn't start until you're 21, you didn't start painting until you're 21? No way.
I didn't have my first class till I was 21. So, I'd drawn and sketched. I was just wired that way, and, but I just really thought it was useless. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. Why would I do this? So I would reluctantly do it, kind of kicking and screaming, like, I don't know why I want to sketch things. And my dad had gotten big into the Y2K prep scenario. And so our life really for a number of years became about this survivalism, and art doesn't fit very well into that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I would herd goats and things and bring a sketchbook, and I'd sketch these goats or, whatever I was doing. And through a number of, kind of really difficult family circumstances, I ended up living in Germany. And while I was there, this family I lived with that was just so gracious to me, really invested in me. And they were like, we see this thing you have for art, we want you to be doing that. And they weren't Christian, but it was just on their hearts to do that. And so I got the opportunity to study with some teachers and take some classes for, and it was just, it was amazing. And while I was living there, I ended up getting a scholarship in Amsterdam to come home to San Francisco. I was from Northern California, so come home to California and go to school in San Francisco. So I moved in with my grandma, who'd always wanted, she kind of was into the arts a little more than the rest of the family, right? So that was exciting for her to get to, be a part of that journey for me. And I met, my husband the first week of our classes there. We got married 3 years later. And so we were both older students, but it was, even once I started art school, I was really stubborn, and I was like, I still don't understand art, and it doesn't make any sense to me, because it making sense to me really matters, right? And that's why I have that verse, of trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding, right? Like, it's so funny. So I have to just laugh at myself about that, but I would only study illustration. I was like, well, I can see a clear purpose for that. You're illustrating a book, you're helping people, engage with the story. And then a year and a half in, just ended up, I just had a big heart change, and I began to see that a lot of the best things in life are not the things that we can logically explain, whether it's God's love or, falling in love or art or beauty or any of these things. So that turned into like a 10-year long journey of studying beauty and the purpose of beauty, and just really falling in love with God so much more,
Wait, Lisa, how did you study beauty?
I read everything I could find on it, literally. And whether it was from, oh my goodness, art critics from the past that had an understanding of life that we have sort of lost, we've kind of, it was, one of my favorite books for art history is The First History of Art, written in the 1500s from a guy that was a contemporary of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci and stuff. And while maybe a lot of the people that he wrote about weren't, we don't know if they were believers or not. In general, there was this overall idea that it's our job in life to do the best we can for the glory of God and the good of our fellow man. Like they didn't take those opportunities for granted, whether it was making art or making shoes. And so kind of latching onto that idea, was very transformative.
I like that. That really had an influence on my life as well. Even Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, they had the educational philosophy called agon, AGON, and it was an agonizing, relentless pursuit of excellence. And we don't have a lot of that today.
No.
We need a renaissance, especially in the Christian world. There needs to be a renaissance of excellence again. God will withhold no good thing from them who walk uprightly. He's a sun and shield. He gives grace and glory. He wants to shower us with blessings. Jesus said this, greater things will you do than I have done. And so I think what's missing is that we don't have the mind of Christ. We don't think like he thinks. And as a result of not knowing his word and having it hidden in our heart, our imagination is stunted. I had 20 kids here the other day, and I was sharing about books and everything. And it was a tour that we had here for families. 20 kids, ages, from 3 to 15. Wow. And these boys were all sitting on the front row. And I was explaining to them how important it is to be reading and not letting visual videos and films occupy their mind, because it takes it over.
Right.
And every boy there was like, no, you can't take that away from us. No, we love our video games and all this stuff. And I'm like, by the end of it though, I won them over. You should have seen, they left with over 100 books. It was really awesome to watch.
Wow.
But that's the way kids are today. They're in Minecraft and all this stuff. And it's the Minecraft is actually crafting their minds to be like the creators of those video games. It's crafty. Satan is at the very helm of all of it. And our kids have lost their imagination. So I love what God has done in your life to bring you where you are today. I mean, just looking at your background there, it's like so creative. And I was looking at,
thank you.
Everyone is so different too. For you to have every single painting back there is so unique and different. Your style is very diverse, isn't it?
It really is, and I'm always excited when I find a common thread in there, but at the same time, I'm just happy really to be skills oriented. It starts with that for me. And then you get excited about something and just really working on painting that. And so, it brings a variety of things to life. That's for sure.
So let's say these students are coming and you're going to be teaching them this summer. What's the main thing that you want them to learn from you?
I think what I really want to help them with, because I think I love the idea of the apprenticeship model. And obviously this is a compressed version of that. But I think with apprenticeship, what you really get the benefit of is you're not just saying, okay, here's information, here's how you do something. It's more like, this is a whole lifestyle that you can, what can we look at in your life to make it so that you keep doing this? Do you know what I mean? Mm. So I want to be very practical with them. I usually go over a lot of, the obstacles I faced, or the obstacles common to man when you try to do any good thing, right? The world, the flesh, and the devil. And what does that look like for each of us? And how are we going to commit to daily overcome that so we can do the work we're called to, right? Mm. So I really want them to go away from this, keeping doing it, right? And not being just kind of like, okay, that was a good week. That was a high. No, don't let this be a high point. This is like your little launching pad. Mm. So that is, and I hope that they'll stay in touch and just continue. I'm always thrilled when people come to me with their questions or whatever, or just, basic life stuff. I mean, I've spent a lot of time studying just practical aspects of life, because if we have wisdom in the practical areas of our life, it enables us to do those other things. Mm-hmm. If we're kind of bogged down and we don't know how to manage our stuff or our time or our weight or our eating or our kitchen or what are the teaching of the kids, then of course we can't add on to it, right? Wow. So it's a lot of just life skills, and that's really what I want to teach them. And don't wait for it to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. So start where you are. If all you have is a number 2 pencil and a piece of paper, but God called you to art, use it. Don't wait, if he ever gives you a bunch of great supplies and world-class materials, that's wonderful. But I think the key is be faithful, be diligent, and he'll multiply it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Be faithful in that which is least, and you'll be faithful in that which is much.
That's right.
That is such a key philosophy of life, theology of life. A lot of people aren't faithful in the little things. That's God. Mm-hmm. God has given us, when Debbie and I first got married, we were going to buy a trailer. I didn't have any money, and so we got a little apartment.
Yeah.
We started out, people helped us out. My high school coach gave us, my high school coach moved out of his house and lived in an apartment so that we could live in his house.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Oh, that's sweet. That's amazing.
He just really cared for me. And so then I wanted to buy a piece of land that was my own. We wanted to have chickens and wanted to raise our kids there. So I found this place in the middle of the village. It's about, 200 acres. And I just went to this owner and I said, can I buy just like 150 feet by 100 feet? I'm going to put a trailer up. It's in the middle of the woods. There's ravines and streams and, no one else lives up there. So I thought I could put my trailer in front. Then, I have access to all this property, right? That would be my dream place. And so I went to him and he goes, how much money do you have? And I said, well, not a lot. He goes, it's $1 million. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't have $1 million.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, that's how much it cost. And I said, I'll tell you what. He goes, here's my phone number. If you ever change your mind, give me a call.
Yeah.
So Debbie and I get married. We go on our honeymoon. We come back. And 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from a lawyer. And the lawyer asks me who I am and if I'm still interested in buying the property. And I said, yeah, but I don't have $1 million. He goes, well, if you want the property, come to my office immediately. The family is here waiting for you. I'm like, whoa, So Debbie and I went down to the office and there were 5 members of the family, 5 different family members from, different, but they all were related, cousins.
Okay. Yeah.
And they didn't say a word. Well, come to find out, this family from Italy bought General Mills property. So this was the General Mills back in the 1800s. They bought his entire estate, his property, where his farmland was. It was all vineyards. And now it's all grown up, large 100-year-old trees. And he said, the lawyer looked at me and said, if you still like this property, he goes, will you still use it in the way that you said you would? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you told this family that you would want to raise your children. You wanted to teach them about God and creation, and that you would never put a housing development on there. And I said, yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. And I want to do the other things. He said, well, for however much money you have in your checkbook, write that number out and the land is yours.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
2 weeks.
Wow.
We have had this property and now you should see us today. We're up there working right now. We've got 3 ponds, a waterfall.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Cats. Yeah. When you come here, this is where we're going to be having the tent up in the woods. It's gorgeous up there. It's overlooking all of the ponds. We just planted 20 trees. 20 to 25 foot maple trees and evergreens.
Wow.
And it's just idyllic up there. And it made me think God has allowed me to continue. When we first got this property, you couldn't drive a tractor more than 10 feet through this. The briars and brambles, these were like 2 to 4 inch thick vines. Okay. They were thick and gnarly. And I had a 60 horse Ford diesel tractor that could not get through this.
Wow.
That's how it would bind the wheels and my dad and I over the years, we went a foot at a time. Now this is 50 plus acres, a foot at a time. And today the entire place is cleared out of all the brambles and prickers and briars. And now it looks like a park. And now God is opening the door for us to actually build a campus there for the Masters Guild. And it just made me think of, when you're faithful in that which is least, then God will keep giving you more. It's you said a little while ago, don't wait to be perfect, That is so important. But there has to be an accumulated effect of knowledge too. We have to keep doing and growing and trying. I mean, how many times did you paint something going like, oh, this is horrible?
Oh, I've done hundreds of paintings that have ended up in the rubbish bin. I mean,
really?
You have to, of course, you have to be willing to do that, and
yeah. And it's not just trial and error, but it's learning the techniques, do you take classes?
Exactly.
Do you take classes online sometimes? I
do. Yeah. Yeah. I love to learn. I mean, reading is probably one of my favorites, but there's a lot of teachers that I admire so much that are just freely, will just give help out there, people that will mentor you. It's just a lot of artists are very willing to give.
What's been more influential, books or people?
That's a very good question. I think that the books have helped me gain the knowledge, especially for, broad areas of life. And then I think that the people, in my life, particularly mentors and things like that, have helped me in the practical application of that,
Oh, that's good.
So I think it goes hand in hand, really.
We had, you weren't here. Were you here when John Reese Davies was here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never forget what he said. There was one of the special guests that was here, and she was talking about how she used to be really shy. And then, do you remember what John said?
No.
Shyness is nothing more than pride hiding behind your own selfishness. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I mean,
the nail on the head right there. Yeah.
Yeah. When the students come here this week for the Guild, I mean, it's an environment of safety and trust where they can be who God wants them to be, and they are allowed to fail and learn from their mistakes and grow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, this is interesting. If I were to take your class again, I don't think I'd be any better than I was the first time. Is that a cop-out, or, I mean, I just
Did you forget to practice?
Yeah, I didn't practice. I don't enjoy it either. My hand hurts when I got my paintbrush like that. Yeah. So should I try it again and try to practice, or just let it go?
If you are not called to it, then please don't torture yourself.
Okay.
Do something that you're suited to. But if you, well, what's a good way to put this?
I'll take it.
It bothers me. Go ahead. You put it your way and then I'll work on it.
No, I would say I'll take it on the chin. Give it to me.
No, this is not a criticism of you. This is, in general, it used to be a common practice 150 years ago that everybody learned to draw. So if you had the mental faculty to be able to see the visual world and you had the dexterity to hold a pencil, you could learn to draw in the same way that people could learn to write. Now, you may not be Shakespeare with your writing. You might not be Da Vinci with your drawing. But I have that strong belief that every person has the ability to learn at least how to draw something to some degree. Now, it doesn't, again, you don't have to love it. You don't have to be brilliant. But I think that's why I enjoy teaching so much, because I have that incredible amount of confidence, in the ability to learn. So, and it's unfortunately, we've really compartmentalized education and we've separated so many areas of life in general, and it's just, and so we're really missing out. So I think for anybody, it's just an act of, I think, gratitude and thanksgiving to look at something God made and not just look like, oh, that's nice, like, a spoiled kid might do with a present, oh, whatever, on to the next one. What else you got for me? But to really look at it and contemplate it and really try to see what's going on in there, and get so interested. And that's what the act of drawing can do. Now, that's not making, a painting or some, but that's to me what drawing is all about.
Okay. That's really interesting. Okay. So I don't enjoy drawing. I don't enjoy painting. It doesn't do anything for me. In fact, if anything, it frustrates me. But put me in front of a real life canvas and landscaping around a house or near a pond, where I can put flowers and trees and make my painting. I love that. I mean,
that's awesome.
So you do it on canvas. I do it in ground.
That's right. That's awesome. There. So you're still making beautiful things and appreciating all the things. Yeah.
I mean, you should see it. I'm known as the tree planter around here. I I plant a tree this year, and then next year I dig it up and put it somewhere else because I want it to be just in the right, perfect spot.
Yeah.
You know? Okay,
I can't wait to see everything. Yeah.
Oh, Lisa, it's incredible. This is different than what you saw before. It's very different.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, what has been, out of all the things that you have learned in your life, what has been the number one thing or two or three that has made you who you are today? That you look back and you'd say, without this, I wouldn't be who I am today. What would that be?
I think, there's really, I guess in my mind, it's really the trials and the difficulties that have brought me close to God and helped me understand, his love in a better way. Mm-hmm. And then that, and I think, when you're loved, you can try and you can fail. That makes sense. So I hope that the students I'm not going to be easy on them, but I want them to have the confidence to learn, and to learn, you have to be willing to show what you're lacking, right? So if you just want to show me what you're good at, and you want to keep doing the same thing because that's what you're comfortable with, but you don't want to open yourself and say, oh, I kind of, this is not my, I'm not really good. And that's okay. You don't have to be, and that's what we're there for each other for. So just, I think that spirit of learning, but anyways, yes, back to that. I think it's just that, well, yeah, God, just being, and it's so encouraging to be able to know that no matter what we go through next, we can trust him because we've been through X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I mean? And that's such an encouraging place to be.
Okay. So those that are listening, I don't preempt these questions. A lot of the teachers that I interview, they said, can you send me a list of questions? And I say, nope. I didn't send you a list of answers to the questions, right?
No.
And one of the reasons why is because I like this to be spontaneous, led by the Spirit of God. And I want your answers to be from your heart, and so when I ask you that question right now, I'm sitting here kind of praying silently, going like, help her, Lord. I hope she nails this, but I'm not going to force you to, but you said exactly what I was hoping you would say. It is the suffering and the trials that we've been through that makes us who we are. Suffering produces endurance produces character, character produces hope. Yep. Hope never disappoints us because the love of God is shed abroad or poured out. The Greek word literally means the love of God is gushed out into our lives through the Holy Spirit given to us.
That's awesome.
And one of the reasons that young people aren't experiencing that, my perspective is that they don't really know God yet. They haven't really fully surrendered. And when that happens, God gushes out his love in your life, and he chooses certain people to go through a little bit more difficulty. Jesus said, those who will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. We rarely suffer persecution. Last night we played volleyball, and this guy from Germany lives down the street, and we invited him to play volleyball. And it was so exciting because he goes, I love America. He got a flag in front of his house. His apartment. He goes, what is going on in this country? He goes, I came all the way from Germany because I wanted to have the freedoms that America has. And he's seeing all this stuff going around. And so he said to me last night, he goes, I'm studying Buddhism. And he goes, I'm reading a book. He goes, did you know there's all these negative, not powers, negative energies that come from hate, selfishness, pride, laziness. And he goes, those are all negative energies. They weaken you. He goes, and then there's these positive energies: love, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, thankfulness, gratitude. And he goes, and I'm learning to cultivate the positive energies. He goes, so that they'll outweigh the negative energies. And I'm listening to him say this about Buddhism, right? And I'm like, they must have been studying the Bible. He goes, what's that? I said, the Bible, like God wrote a book too. And God has all these things in it too. He goes, really? I said, oh yeah, much more. There's a lot more positive energy come from the Bible. And so we opened to Galatians and Philippians, and then we went to the gospel. and he got to see, all the stuff in the Bible. He said, this is what God says, but this, you can't act these things out on your own. These things
right.
from the Spirit of God
That's right.
can live in you. And so we started probably half an hour, 45 minutes, just the two of us sitting after everyone left. And Lisa, down the street, there was a gang of 20 kids, 18 and up, having a brawl, a fist fight. 5 minutes after we left, 40 feet away, this huge fight took place. And the police were telling me this morning about it. And I was just thinking oh, Lord, thank you so much. We just left. And 5 minutes later, that took place. And I was like, praise the Lord. God is so good to us. And I mean, I could have been a part of, I could have walked through, who knows what would have happened. But one of the things I know is that when the Spirit of God lives in you, nothing happens by chance.
That's right.
There's students right now that are wondering whether they should come to the Guild. And I would say this, the Guild is expensive to come to. Yes, there are scholarships available, but you get what you pay for. And I look at the Guild not as an expenditure, it's an investment. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like this that I've ever seen. I've been thinking about this Guild concept for over 30 years. What really inspired Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci? They inspired each other. They had this idea of, the word guild. Do you know what the word guild where it comes from?
No.
It's a German word. It's the word for gold standard.
Oh, okay.
And it's the gold standard of excellence.
Wow.
Right after the Renaissance, a lot of things took place, and then all the way up and through the late 1800s, there was the arts and crafts movement. Albert Hubbard, Robert Morse, Stickley, Tiffany, to look at their works. And these men were not Christians, but they had this pursuit of excellence in beauty and glory. Mark Twain and Albert Hubbard, not Christians, but did you know that they printed parts of the Bible for their families?
That's amazing. No, I didn't know that.
Mark Twain wrote out by hand. He wrote out the entire New Testament, had it published to give to all of his children.
That's amazing.
They knew what was most important, even though they themselves didn't know it intimately,
Right.
So I think when the students come here, one of the things that they're going to see differently is that not only do we have a love for excellence and beauty, craftsmanship, but we have a love for Jesus that's really real.
That's right. Right. Because the tendency is, we're either, especially in the modern age, they want to cast off beauty as if it doesn't matter because life is pointless and we came from meaningless things, or they want to lift it up and worship it. Right. And so it's very rare that you can find a place where you can actually pursue beauty the right way, because you're pursuing God and he's beautiful and he made all beautiful things. And so we're not worshiping what we do and we're not, that's not our end goal, but it's exciting to have the right environment to get to pursue that excellence in, and that is very rare.
Yeah, I love it. It reminds me of Psalm 16:11. I will make known unto you the path of life. In my presence is fullness of joy. And at my right hand are pleasures forevermore. Did you read John Piper's book? 25 years ago, it was called Desiring God. Did you ever read that?
Yeah, I think I have read that one.
That
a couple years though.
That changed my life. The chief end of man, he wrote, is to glorify God, not enjoying him forever, but by enjoying him forever.
Yeah.
God really wants us to enjoy him. When I was reading 2 Peter chapter 1, it uses this word, add to your faith, giving all diligence. Add to your faith virtue, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. And then it says, if you practice these things, you'll never be barren nor unfruitful in the full intimate knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And you will never fall. It's like, wow, this is an amazing promise.
Yeah.
But that word add, it's the only time this word appears in the Bible. And if I had not seen it with my own eyes when I was in Israel, I actually saw this word in Greek at one of the ancient theaters that they had just uncovered. So they dug it up and there is this
that's
ancient
interesting.
theater there. On on one of the stones was engraved this word ad in the Greek. And, I know they wrote in Hebrew back then, but for some reason, this was written in Greek. And and I think the Grecians, the Greek theaters is what really, that's where the Greeks were, they're the ones that gave us theater for the most part.
Right.
Giving all diligence, add to your faith, virtue, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, and so on. This word add is the word, I'm gonna pronounce it in Greek, and let's see if you can come up with it. It starts off with the word epi, which is a prefix. So it's epi, and then the root word is korageo. Can you figure out what it means in English?
Let's see. Before, what would that be?
Well, forget about epi. Just think about korageo.
It's not ringing any bells for me.
Okay, I'm gonna help you.
Choreograph?
Yeah.
No, is that it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He wants us to choreograph our lives.
That's incredible.
The
front, that is beautiful. Yeah.
The word epi in front is all inclusive. He wants us to use faith, add to your faith, virtue, knowledge, self-control, perseverance. These are your paintbrushes. This is your canvas. All that he wants us to use in life, on the platform of life, he says, I want you to choreograph your life with these virtues.
That's awesome.
Isn't it?
That is so beautiful. Yeah, that's amazing.
And I think the Guild is that. I think the Guild is a choreographic platform where we get to pursue God in a partnership of excellence and beauty. I think that's it.
That's a good description.
Yeah. And God uses the Lisas and the Riches, the Rich Swingles and the Alan Hurleys, and all of these amazing teachers that are going to be coming here. Mandy. Have you met Mandy yet?
I haven't met Mandy yet.
Oh, you and Mandy are going to become best friends.
I can't wait.
You two are very similar.
Really?
You have the same smile. I'm telling you, I don't even have to tell you who she is. You will know who she is as soon as you walk onto the campus here.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
You guys are going to give each other the biggest hugs. She is like a walking Jesus. I mean, it's just amazing. She loves Jesus. She loves people. Her photography is amazing. You two are going to be working together. I can't wait to see what you guys produce.
I can't wait. Oh, that's going to be fun. Oh, good.
Yeah, this year's going to be very special, Lisa. I'm really looking forward to being here. So,
me too. Me too.
Well, say hello to your husband for me, and
I will.
We'll see you in a few weeks. It's coming.
That's right. It's good to catch up. We will see you soon. Thank you so much.
God bless. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.